where he faced 10 different charges related to drug trafficking and possession. According to news sources and court documents, the suspect was allegedly caught trafficking fentanyl-related drugs after he rushed a friend to the hospital who was suffering from a gunshot wound. This case legally disallowed him from possessing firearms, a factor that would rack up his sentence for future incidents. Suspects obtained the blue Ford after they robbed and shot the owner, a 23-year-old working a second job as a Grubhub driver. Interviews with the victim indicate the suspects shot him in the hip and abdomen area, even though he fully complied with all their demands. Luckily, after emergency surgery, he was able to walk a week later, although the bullets still remained in his hip. His GoFundMe page is still active and can be found in the description below. In court, the main suspect and driver of the vehicle, J. Marlon Romeo Hayes, would be tried for all of his mentioned offenses. On December 15th, the court listed a $750,000 bond that was never posted. He alone would face over 30 charges for his actions, and he pled guilty to nearly all of them, likely in hopes of a lighter sentence. However, the court applied the Reagan-Tokes Law to several of his offenses. The Reagan-Tokes Law refers to a case where a 21-year-old student who was abducted, raped, and murdered in 2017 by a man on parole. This relatively new law allows the court to extend sentences beyond what court guidelines recommend if it is determined the defendant would be a danger to the public if released on parole. His defense attempted to avoid the application of this law, citing his mental health issues, general lack of education, a 72 IQ, absence of a father due to prison sentences, and that he allegedly pled guilty to the crimes during a police interrogation where they failed to read his Miranda rights. They cited that Hayes was remorseful, wished to utilize prison programs to further an education, and eventually reunite with his infant daughter.
Yeah, we can't let him go.
Yeah, because they're going to be in the wind carjacking people before the day's out.
Unfortunately for Hayes, he was sentenced to multiple years in prison for every single one of his guilty verdicts. His longest individual charge was for an aggravated robbery, which was 11 years plus 3 years firearm specification, totaling 14 years. If all of his charges were ran concurrently, meaning he serves multiple sentences simultaneously, that would have been his full term. However, he would instead serve his sentences consecutively, meaning one after the other. This resulted in a verdict of 71.5 years in prison. Hayes' defense team argued against this verdict in court, saying Hayes has the potential to do good. The court responded with, quote, "I hope that is true. However, any good you do for a long time to come will be within the state prison. At 20 years old, even under the best circumstances, he'll have to serve 85% of his sentence under Ohio law and won't be eligible for release until he is 80. According to news sources, his accomplice Rontel Dante Parks
That
was
was
sentenced to
fucking
18
ass,
years
but at
in
least it
prison
was
for his
recorded.
crimes. Even more lawsuits continue to rise from the events in this video.